is Jalen Rose.
What up, Doe?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together we are Jalen Jacoby. What is it that we do?
We get the people what they want.
We have Anthony Spice Adams joining us later, but we start with Monday Night Football last night. Does anyone want to win the NFC East? Anybody? The Eagles could control their own destiny if they win out, but they got down early to Eli Manning and the Giants, but they came back in the second half. Carson Wentz led the team down the field, forced overtime, led the team down the field in overtime, and hit Zach Ertz with this pass to give the Eagles the win. Jalen, a win is a win, but do you leave this game more concerned or encouraged about the Eagles' chances?
More concerned, and it's not necessarily based on the score of last night's game. It's based on the injury report. Lane Johnson went out during the game. Alshon Jeffrey went out during the game. Deshaun Jackson wasn't available to play. Jordan Howard wasn't available to play. Now all of a sudden you're losing so many guys that you rely on to make big plays, especially at this point in the season, if you're going to upend the Dallas Cowboys. I don't want to see Carson Wentz throwing the football 50 times, especially in those conditions. However, in the second half, their offense did respond. Zach Ertz was huge, 2 touchdown grabs. But ultimately, for the Eagles, that head-to-head with the Dallas Cowboys may end up being a determining factor.
Well, as they did get thin in all the skilled positions, there was a little silver lining to that cloud. A gentleman by the name of Boston Scott, he was undrafted, he was on a practice squad. They brought him up. He had 10 rushes for 59 yards, 6 catches for 69 yards. Little guy out there just zipping around. Did they find something last night in Boston Scott?
Possibly, and to show my age, the first thing I thought when I saw him was like, is that Dave Meggett? Because they was playing against the Giants, old school, and a little Darren Sproles also. It was great to see him out there performing well when he got his opportunity. But just think about this. The Eagles were so short at wide receiver. Had somebody else got injured, Josh McCown, the backup quarterback, the seasoned veteran that's almost been in the league 20 years, would have had to line up at wide receiver. Just think about that for a second. Short-handed, to say the least.
Coach Peterson said that McCown went and got his helmet and was like, Coach, I'm ready to run these routes. And be like, by the time you're out of your break, we'll already be in the huddle for the next play. I don't know if he's going to be the most speedy guy on the outside, but I do love the attitude. He's like, whatever you need, Coach, I'll go in there. So we kind of glazed over it, but Eli Manning was in for Daniel Jones, who has an ankle problem, and Eli Manning looked great, especially in the first half. The second half, he didn't look so great, but he had some really nice balls in the first half. Jalen, Eli is reportedly not interested in this being a farewell tour. He might come back next year. Do you think he deserves to start for one of the teams in the National Football League next year?
I don't think he deserves to be a starter anymore in the NFL. He's had a great career. He's going to end up in the Hall of Fame based on the fact that he has 2 Super Bowl championships, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and that his last name is Manning, and he played in New York City. But not too many quarterbacks get a chance to go into the Hall with an under 500 record, and he also has that. But it was great to see him back out there performing. I wish I would have bet on the over-under cutaways of his family and Peyton and stuff like that. I'd be a rich man today. But the second half started, and the first thing I was thinking of, they should be showing Saquon Barkley family, because he's the present and the future, and they're not getting him involved. And if they're not able to get him involved in these conditions, they're not going to be able to keep this up, and that's what took place.
That's a really good point. We talk about the NFC East, and we really do joke, but one of these 2 teams is going to end up in the playoffs, and someone has to win this division. If you take a look at what the Cowboys and the Eagles both have ahead of them schedule-wise, who do you like to end up winning this crown?
Well, the Cowboys got those Rams. That's the toughest game out of all of those squads, and then they have a head-to-head. So if the Cowboys lose to the Rams and the Eagles are able to beat the Cowboys, that to me gives them the edge. The final game at the Giants, they'll probably beat the brakes off of them. The Redskins, the Dallas Cowboys will probably win that week. So these next 2 weeks are going to determine it. I think right now, other than injuries, Philadelphia has to be in pole position.
Well, now we switch our focus to the National Basketball Association, and what a game we had between the Rockets and the Kings. Russell Westbrook had what I consider to be his best game as a Houston Rocket. He had 34 points and 8 assists. He was getting buckets, and we all saw the very final bucket that he ended up getting. This is Buddy Hield, who puts the Kings up, and then Russell Westbrook comes back down to put the Rockets back up with so much drama at the end of the game. Look at this bucket right through the middle. He thinks the game is over. There's only about a second left on the clock when Bjelica gets the ball and gives the Kings the win right here. Jalen Rose, what do you think about this wild finish in Houston?
A miscommunication on defense, and it just shows you how the margin between victory and defeat can be so very close. Russell did a great job of attacking the rim and being aggressive. The Kings got good minutes out of Rashawn Holmes, a young big that's giving them good energy. Harrison Barnes made some plays. You talked about Buddy Hield. It was an opportunity for the Houston Rockets to get a win on their home floor. But as you showed, the late three-point shot, which is a big-time play, ultimately sunk the Houston Rockets on their home floor.
It really did. And I want to celebrate the Kings for a second because they started out so terribly this season. And now they've got a road win against the Mavs, a road win against the Rockets. They're missing Fox and Bagley for periods. Do you think that they've started to figure it out as a team?
I do, and it's based on the guys that I named. They have a lot of seasoned veterans. I didn't mention Corey Joseph and Trevor Ariza. So as you go deeper into the box score, you understand that there's certain guys that when they've been around the league, you know what you're going to get from them on a nightly basis. And Luke Walton has done a terrific job of pushing those buttons, getting this team to play hard, hoping to find an identity. And when you beat teams like Houston on their home floor and the other wins that you just acknowledged, that gives your squad confidence.
Not only did the Rockets lose to the Kings last night, they also lost their appeal. Remember the dunk that was a dunk, but the refs didn't think was a dunk? You'll never believe this, Jalen Rose, but the league decided not to just straight up award them the win, and the league decided not to play over the last 7 minutes and 50 seconds. They actually said that there was plenty of time for the Rockets to make up for the error over the course of the rest of the game. I understand, no one really thought they were going to uphold this appeal, but did they have to add that part about y'all should have won the game anyway?
Well, that was just a jab at them for making us waste time and energy and send emails and leave voicemails in order to go over something where I gave you guys the fix. Jacoby, you play basketball at so many different places, 100% more than I do. And there's so many times you see the Nets get caught when somebody that's not in the NBA makes a jump shot. When you watch NBA League Pass, you rarely see that happen.
Never see it.
Why? Because the nets aren't so long. In that case, I believe that's what caused the James Harden ball to actually do what it did.
Well, 2 L's for the Rockets last night, but Jalen Rose, you'll never believe this. We had the Detroit Pistons at the start of the show. The Detroit Pistons at the start of the show, and I know you know exactly why. Derrick Rose had a huge game. He had 4 points going into the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, he scored 17. He was 7 for 8 in the final frame, and none were bigger than the final shot of the game. You'll see it here, little spin move, 15 feet, hit that. After the game, he said he was born to do this. Jalen, how encouraging was to see this performance in the fourth quarter from Derrick Rose?
To appreciate the beauty of a rose, you must respect the thorns. And on the road, when you have 15 turnovers, when you have 18 turnovers and 15 assists, you normally don't win. When Blake Griffin scores in single digits, that's normally an opportunity for the home team to get that victory. Brandon Ingram was terrific, scored over 30. But Derrick Rose in the fourth and how he performed was the actual catalyst to why they were able to close it out.
It really goes with Jalen. There's also some rumblings, some little reports and rumblings here and there about the Detroit Pistons maybe considering trading Blake Griffin. Could you see that happening this season?
Well, here's the thing. Anytime a team isn't playing up to its expectations, all of the cards have to be on the table. And it isn't personal. We talked about this with Chris Paul. I know we love you, big fella. We talked about this with DeMar DeRozan. I know we love you. But if we're going to get Russell Westbrook and Kawhi Leonard in return, then we got to pull a trigger. No different from Blake Griffin. So it'll be interesting to see what and if they could get in return for a value in Blake Griffin. But I don't anticipate it happening over the next couple of weeks. Let's just say that.
Well, Jalen, I'm so excited. we have a guest that's going to join us in studio. Gentleman by the name of Anthony Spice Adams. He is hilarious, and we're going to see if maybe Creamy Bigums will join us as well. Stay tuned for that. Coming to you live from Pier 17 and brought to you by Heineken. Welcome back to Jalen Jacoby. Jalen Rose, who is joining us right here in studio.
Detroit's finest, representing King High School. What up, though? Spice Adams in the building.
What up, though?
So excited to have you here, Spice. You know, you do so much in the media world, so much in the media world. Former NFL player, current hilarious guy on social media, but you also are hosting the American Baking Show.
Yes.
It's the holidays. What should we be baking for the holidays?
Oh, man, I'm baking what my mom usually bakes, some red velvet cake from scratch. Oh, man, it's the best. And I make my aunt's banana pudding. I get down with the get down, man, but I'm usually like a griller. You know, so I smoke turkeys and ribs and stuff like that, man. You know what I'm saying? I get down with the get down, man. I ain't get this big for no reason.
You know, it really broke my heart when I found out that red velvet cake was just chocolate cake that was dyed.
Really?
Yeah, it broke my heart. I thought it was something special. I was like, oh, y'all just put red dye in chocolate cake.
Hey, it's banging, so I really don't care, man. As long as you put butter and sugar in it, I'm straight.
Hey, Spice, can you talk to my brother Jacoby? Because you just used a key word, especially after Thanksgiving. He does a lot of slandering of turkey. And I just heard you mention
don't like
it.
Turkey.
Why you
Talk
don't like
to him
turkey?
about that.
Doesn't taste good and it's dry.
tripping.
I'd rather have
Okay,
chicken. I'd rather have
here's
fish.
a
I'd
test
rather
right
have
here.
shrimp. I'd rather have ribs. I'd rather have every other type of meat you can put in the grill except for turkey.
Okay, here's the test right here. This will tell me everything I need to know. Sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie?
Sweet potato pie.
You
Sweet potato
all
pie.
right with me?
Also, don't really like pie.
But I don't understand why you don't like the turkey though.
Because the turkey, it's just dry. You need to douse it in gravy. It's also this. It's like,
do you fry it?
It's also, no, I'm not frying the turkey.
What?
I've seen
You
too
gotta
many
fry the
videos.
turkey.
I've seen too many videos
on.
online of people
I'm
exploding
trying
their
to
Well, you
put them
can't put a
on.
whole
getting burnt
frozen
up
turkey
in the backyard.
in the grease.
I'm not doing that. I've seen too many videos.
You
I'm
can't
not
put
doing
a
that.
frozen turkey in grease. Period. You got to know what you're doing.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, so look, I smoke the turkey and then I bacon weave it.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's different when you get
Bacon weave.
somebody who know what they doing.
My point exactly. You got to put bacon on turkey to make it taste good. You got to put gravy on turkey to make
You
it
put
taste
bacon on anything, man.
Exactly.
It's banging.
So one of the big stories in the NFL today we want to talk to you about is the Patriots. They just happen to have a video production crew at the Bengals game. They were shooting a documentary about one of their
Nobody
advanced
feels
scouts,
sorry for the Patriots.
And it just so happened that the independent contractor didn't know the details of the rules, that you can't point the camera at the other sideline or the game when you're in the press box. I happen to absolutely believe this story from the Patriots, but because of the Patriots, everyone's going to be skeptical. What do you think?
You know what? They get what they got coming to them. Like everybody wants to talk about the refs in that game. So what? Oh, we didn't get the call. Man, that happened every game to the Bears. That happened every game to every other team. So nobody care about the Patriots. No, nobody. I hope they lose all the rest of their games. I don't care about the Patriots.
Let them go.
I feel like Jim Morris Sr. right now. Don't talk to me about the Patriots. Don't talk to me about the Patriots.
They can lose all their games and still win their division pretty easily.
That's
too.
crazy, man.
Well, there's something else I want to talk to you about. Two things. I know you played for the Bears, so you rep them, but you from Detroit. Are you a degenerate Lions fan like me?
Listen, I never grew up being a Lions fan because I knew that the Lions were going to lose for sure. So what I started doing was I started being a fan of individuals. So I was a fan of Barry Sanders. I knew the Lions were going to lose, but I knew Barry was going to give me 100-something. So in order for me not to be crushed, I would just root for Barry because I knew at the end of the day the Lions were going to lose. But right now, the Bears cut the check.
Yeah, exactly. So you got, you are working with the Bears.
Cut the check.
You do a lot of Chicago media around the Bears, and remember at the beginning of the season, like week 3, week 4, it looked like the Bears were really good, and that defense was going to be so good, and Mitchell Trubisky was a little hot.
Jacoby, don't do this.
He got really cold.
Don't do this, man.
Are you now? I mean, they've won a couple. Mitch looked pretty good in the last few games.
Don't do this.
When you look at Mitchell Trubisky, do you say, "Wow, that's the future of the franchise right there"?
Jacoby, don't do this, man. Don't do me like this, man. You know, he's been hot the last 2 games, and you know, us Chicago Bear fans, we appreciate it. We just need more. We need a lot more consistency. That's all I'm gonna say right there.
How about this?
Go ahead, Jalen.
Oh, here we go, Jalen. Jalen about to set me up.
There's a quarterback in Carolina that may be on his way out in Cam Newton. What do you think about that idea?
Why not? Why not? Let's get him, man. Listen, when I played defensive tackle, every year they brought in another defensive tackle to like look over my shoulders, like, hey, man, step up your game. So why not? Let's get somebody that's gonna, you know, put that fire in them. Let's do it. I always want the competition, so I think it make the team better. You know what I'm saying? So let's get him. Cam, where you at, baby? Let's come out to Chicago, baby.
Give Trubisky the clipboard. Give Cam the football.
Whatever you want to do. Let's sign some competition. I'm all for it, baby.
Well, another team you played for is in the news. The San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
They just can't lose, man. They're out here. They're in New Orleans.
They're excited
in a
to watch.
shootout against the Saints. They're one of the most exciting teams to watch. They've been in some of the best games this year. They're 11-2, tied for the best record in the whole entire league, best record in the NFC. My question for you,
I love it,
Spice Adams, how come I still don't respect them the way I should?
I don't
with
know.
Their record.
I don't know why you don't. I mean, 11. They only lost 2 games, and those went down to the wire. It's not like they got blew out by somebody. Like this team is for real, dude. So I don't know why you not giving them the respect that they deserve. I don't know.
I know the answer.
You don't even like turkey, first of all. So we know you're not going to like the Niners. Like, I don't know what's going on with you, man. You made a great decision in liking the sweet potato pie over the pumpkin pie, but when it comes to the 49ers, I don't know what's going on. What more do they need to do?
I don't know what I'm missing.
Here's what it
I don't know what I'm missing. I don't know
Jacoby
what I'm
likes
missing.
splash. Jacoby like oohs and ahs. So on turkey, of course, he don't like Thanksgiving. He don't like the San Antonio Spurs. All they do is win championships.
They win.
And now he don't like the 49ers.
I like highlights. I like exciting plays. I like athletes. I like Lamar Jackson.
They almost put up 50 points.
Jimmy G just handing the ball off.
They almost put up 50 points.
Taking and dunking across the middle to George Kittle.
What does Tom Brady do?
Oh, exactly that.
3-yard passes that end up being 45 yard passes.
He hasn't thrown the ball 14 yards all season long. I'm convinced.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm convinced.
But do you like watching them?
No, because my man Jacoby keeps dropping passes. Jacoby Myers, my
he
namesake, just keeps dropping passes.
You're hard to please. I see that already.
Yes, he is.
Listen, when you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, do you put more peanut butter on there or more jelly?
More peanut butter. Without question. More peanut butter. And I'm cutting it diagonally.
So, I told him I never cut a sandwich. So a couple of years ago, I wasn't on Instagram. Once I joined, you became must-see IG.
He was everywhere.
What's some of the inspiration behind some of your characters?
Oh, man. Growing up in Detroit, all the family reunions, all the friends of the family coming through, man, shooting dice and playing basketball in the back. Oh, right there, that's 8-Ball Jamie right there, man. He got the 8-ball jacket on, man.
Are we old enough to remember the 8-ball jacket?
Yeah, so this right here, man, this is like your uncle who's laughing at a joke or something like that, man. They just got this distinct laugh that you always see. You always see this guy in the gym with the goggles on, with the shorts hiked up, with the socks all the way up, man. So, and they always, who got next, young blood? They jumpers is always wet, though. Jumpers is wet.
Let them tell it.
Yeah, let them tell it.
If you are not following Anthony Spice Adams on all social media, you need to change that right now. And very quickly, tell us about the American Baking Show. What do we have to look forward to? Heard there's a holiday special.
Oh, man. It puts you in the holiday spirit, man. The Great American Baking Show, man, airing Thursday on ABC 9, 8
Wait,
Central.
ABC?
Yes, sir.
You on the 3-letter network?
Yes, sir.
You on the 3-letter network?
ABC.
Oh, man. They put us on a 4-letter network with a number at the end.
ABC, man. I'm co-hosting myself and Baby Spice, Emma Bunton. The judges are Paul Hollywood and Chef Sherry Yard. Man, we have a great time, man. It gets you in holiday spirit, and you can see like sweet potato pies and all that stuff, red velvet cakes, all that stuff, man.
So excited to have you through. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you,
Jalen
man.
Rose, the Bucks have now won
Detroit.
15 basketball games in a row. We'll break down the Bucks' big streak right after this.
Oh, he bleeding.
Wednesday night action on ESPN starting at 7 p.m. We had the Clippers going against last year's champions, the Raptors. And then in the nightcap, The streaking Bucks take their win streak against the Pelicans at home in Milwaukee, and that is at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN as well. And not one, not two, but 3 title fights this Saturday night, December 14th at 10 p.m. on ESPN2. Don't forget, Amanda Nunes is going to be fighting. She's always fun to watch. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, the Milwaukee Bucks have now won 15 straight basketball games. They beat the Magic yesterday. Jalen, they haven't lost a game in over a calendar month. There we have Giannis dancing his way to the start of the game. What did you see from the Bucks in this one?
Giannis can do it in all phases. You showed him on the post, too little, jump hook to the middle. You saw him shoot the 3. You see him right there in transition with the Euro step. You see him with the 2-hand dunk. Giannis is becoming the immovable force and the unstoppable object of the NBA. He's that very dominant. And all of a sudden, you look up on a nightly basis, DiVincenzo can make some plays. Bledsoe can make some plays. Middleton had 20 in the game. It depends on what night it is for either Lopez brother. Like, they've created such a level of depth around Giannis that they're going to now rely on the guy that's playing the most. Oh, Ilyasova making shots. Oh, we get him more minutes. We'll run more plays for him. So they've done a terrific job of building around a great player.
So, Jalen, I'm glad you brought that up because that was my takeaway from this game, too, is they got contribution from Ilyasova in the second unit. And DiVincenzo, if you haven't been paying attention, has been playing well during this streak. And they really don't have a true second star. I know you can say Chris Middleton was an all-star last year, but they're not a duo. But what they've done is they have a really good complementary pieces about 1 through 9 on their roster. And I want you to take a look at some numbers during this 15-game win streak and tell me what they tell you.
So they shared the basketball first and foremost. They had 30 assists in the previous game. But that point differential says a lot about your defense, David Jacoby. And if you can put up 121 without necessarily shooting a low percentage, when you shooting almost 50 and your opponent is shooting close to 40, that's dominant basketball. And that's a level of balance that can carry you on a nightly basis.
And here's what's ahead for them. They've got the Pelicans on ESPN on Wednesday night. Then they've got the Grizzlies, and then they've got the Cavs. Like, they're heavily favored to win all 3 of those games. They could bring this up to 18 before they face the Mavericks, which would be a bigger test. Are they going to get this streak up to 18 games?
I believe so. And they're playing with a sense of urgency. And remember, this isn't a team that came out of nowhere. They were dominant last year. Giannis won the MVP and is reigning right now. So they're building on what they've already had going on. And they understand that home court advantage is going to be crucial for them, not only in the Eastern Conference playoffs, but potentially in the NBA Finals if they're fortunate enough to make it.
Well, it's hard to gain ground on a team that's on a 15-game win streak, but the Celtics might have gained some psychological ground with the return of Gordon Hayward. Remember, Hayward has been out and he's been injured, and he didn't just come back. He looked pretty good. Gordon Hayward played 26 minutes, had 14 points, and generally just played well. They beat the Cavs. They're now 17-5, only behind the Bucks in the East. What does the return of Hayward as he plays himself back into, a healthy role mean for this team?
Another terrific perimeter player. And I've said the Celtics have the most depth on the perimeter in the Eastern Conference. They have so many different guys that can make plays. We don't even talk enough about a defender like Marcus Smart, who's their best passer. We know Kemba's gonna get you buckets with his herky-jerky movements and pulling up for 3. Jaylen Brown continues to ascend. Jason Tatum was a double-figure rebounder. The one thing I wanna make sure I pay homage to is the Celtics are built for this regular season marathon. So don't be surprised when they end up with the number 2 seed. Now, once the playoffs come, it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to be able to do up front against big bodies like Al Horford, Joel Embiid, and for the Bucks, Greek Freak and the Lopez brothers.
It is interesting. When you look at this roster, they've got such a good perimeter players. But in a 7-game series, they're going to need some help up front. Do you think that Danny Ainge makes a move before the trade deadline to bulk up a little bit?
I wouldn't be surprised. And again, we've talked on this show about did he overplay his hand? But the great thing is that you still have all of those assets at your disposal, and they're playing terrific. So it's almost like in the NFL, when you score a touchdown, do you automatically go for 2? And sometimes that's considered chasing points. So if you got a good deal and say a Steven Adams, you can add him to your squad without giving up too much, or one of those type of bigs, I would do so. But you don't give up one of your core group of players because they're playing so very well.
You know I love Steven Adams so much, but sometimes when you look at his salary, you're like, wait, he makes what? Is that over a 3-year deal? Oh, no, that's this year? Oh, shout out to Steven Adams' agent. Well, you played a long time in Indiana, and you're recognized as one of the great Indiana Pacers, and Paul George also falls in that category, and he and the Clippers visited Indiana, and Paul George put on a show. He scored 34 of his 36 points and had 7 threes just through 3 quarters. Jalen, you know how passionate and knowledgeable these fans are. What do you think about PG's return to performance to Indianapolis?
So I want to make sure all media, all fans, and all players hear this. When you ascend to become an all-star level player and then an all-NBA player, the fan base is going to expect you to potentially lift them to great heights. That's what comes with the salary. That's what comes with the jersey sales. That comes with the pats on the back. That comes with all the support you get. And then all of a sudden, when the fan base sees that Anthony Davis, Paul George don't want to be there anymore, it's also going to come with the territory that they're going to boo you in your return. The same thing happened to LeBron James when he initially returned to Cleveland. Same thing happened to Kevin Durant when he returned to OKC. What do all of those circumstances have in common, Jacoby? They have the All-NBA, the MVP level play, but they initially didn't win a championship.
Yep.
When Kawhi Leonard returns to Toronto, they didn't get anything for him when he left, but they're going to give him standing ovations. They might just give him a trophy. They might just give him a statue. Why? Because he delivered. That just comes with the territory. It's not personal. There's so many people that appreciated what Paul George and all of those other guys did for the community and did for the team. But that's where the frustration of the fans come in. And as a former player that now works in the media, I understand it.
I understand it too, and I think that Paul George has, a holistic understanding of the emotions of the fans and the passion of the fans there. But after the game, he was asked about being booed, and he said something really interesting. Let's take a listen to PG-13.
You know what? Someday I'll do a tell-all, and I'll tell the leading events of how I left Indiana. And I promise you, I'm not the one to boo.
Paul, don't do the thing where you tell me you know a secret, but you're not telling me the secret. Paul, what are you hiding? What do you got? What do you think he's alluding to?
Well, he's just alluding to the inside and understanding that it's not only on the players sometimes dictating whether they're able to stay or go, because players have intimate knowledge sometimes when you're at Paul George level of potential deals that the team probably could have done that they didn't do. And so I think that's more of what he's discussing. But as his career progresses with the Clippers, there still will be an appreciation for his time in Indiana from both sides.
Absolutely. Jalen Rose, time for some very important news that matters. Jalen, I have some inside information about the television show that goes by the name of Power. Do you have any interest in this information?
Yes.
Well, we all know that Power is gearing up for the second half of its final season, but there was rumors about spin-off shows. So on my block, where I live, what they did is they said no parking for 2 days. We're going to do a thing. They got these signs up everywhere. You can't park here, can't park here. A generator's pulled up, trailers pulled up. You could tell there's a big film shoot going on. And I was like, what is this film shoot for? I looked inside the dashboard of one of the transportation vans. It said Power Book 2, Ghost. So Jalen, I didn't see Tariq around. I didn't see Ghost around, and I was looking for him. So my question for you is this. Does this mean Ghost is not dead? Does this mean maybe it's about Tariq and it's called Ghost? What do you think?
Well, in that last episode, I realized that Ghost wasn't going to be dead because when you're the star character, you got to go out in a blaze of glory like Scarface. That one shot ain't killing Ghost. Okay, if for some people that's been watching the show. If I had to anticipate who I thought, this is just my opinion, probably end up or should end up getting spinoffs, who I would pick Tommy without a doubt. I think they're going to pick Tyreek. I would also pick Dre. Those are the three people that I feel like would be really strong in spinoffs. It's going to be interesting to see what Courtney Kemp and 50 Cent does. We got to get Curtis on the show.
We got to get Curtis on the show.
That's what needs to happen.
You know what? Later on the show, you know we're not going to let this Nick Cannon Eminem thing go without us talking about it later on the show. But before we do that, me, you, and Method Man, keep it moving right after this. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, what topics we discuss in this show is so important to you. So we have a special segment just for you where you can decide whether or not we discuss a topic, and that is called Keep It Moving. If you want to discuss the topic, you say hit the brakes. If not, me, you, and Method Man jump in the minivan and keep it moving. Are you ready, Mr. Rose?
Cal.
Lamar Jackson
Hit the
might be
brakes.
hurt. Oh. What we know time of recording is that he has a quadriceps injury and he was limited on practice on Monday. So my question for you is forecasting a little bit. If maybe he's not 100%, do you think it's important that they keep him healthy for the playoffs, or do you want that number one seed?
Knowing Lamar, if he can walk, he's going to play. And I remember a day and age in football where these great athletes competed on Sunday and didn't have to turn around and compete on Thursday. This is why he may be in jeopardy of not potentially playing. But if I had to guess in a vacuum, I would say if he can walk, he's going to play.
Another thing I love about the Ravens roster, Robert Griffin III can step right in there. You know, he's got a similar skill set, and we've even seen him on the field throughout the season. Jalen, I love this one. Le'Veon Bell didn't play on Sunday because he had the flu. But wait till you find out what he did on Saturday night.
Hit the brakes.
Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
Le'Veon Bell is not playing on the game on Sunday because he has the flu. But on Saturday night, he went to a bowling alley in New Jersey with some orange leather pants on and went bowling until 1 in the morning. Jalen, what is he doing?
He's off of them. That's all that means. Anytime you play on the squad that lost to the Dolphins and the Bengals in the same season, he like, I might as well get my bowling game up. He's going to start writing his rhymes. He about to drop some bars. Try to end the season on a healthy note. Continue to keep getting them checks and get ready for next year.
Jalen, can you pull off orange leather pants?
Yes, I can.
See,
yes,
that's the difference. That's the difference between me and you. Like, when I read he was wearing orange leather pants, I was like, that's even crazier than him going bowling when he's supposed to have the flu. Who puts on orange leather pants is like, you know what? I look good. Let me go hit the lanes. Also, leather pants when you're going bowling? Come on. That's not a good fabric for bowling. Moving on. Huge contract for Steven Strasburg. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Keep it moving. No surprises.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
We have a somber update on one of our guys, LaMelo Ball. Keep
hit the brakes.
LaMelo Ball is in Australia. He has a foot injury and he's going to be out approximately 4 weeks. I have him as the surefire, can't miss number one pick of the NBA draft. Do you think that health could keep him out of that number one spot?
I don't, because he's so very young that whatever ailments he have, as long as they're not multiple surgical, I think he'll be able to respond from them. He's 6'7", he's dynamic with the ball. He continues to improve seemingly on a nightly basis. He's been over there honing his craft. He's played in multiple cities, multiple countries. He almost is coming with the Luka Doncic type experience.
I love it. I would pick him number one. I would not want to be the general manager that passed on LaMelo Ball. Moving on, they have announced the Heisman Trophy finalists. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
All quarterbacks in Chase Young, no surprise. Jalen might as well win it. They're going to ultimately give it to Joe Burrow. Keep it moving.
We know Joe Burrow's going to win.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving.
Hasn't been a lot of drama with the Heisman Trophy in the last few years. Next, Ja Morant is back on the basketball court. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
So he missed a few games because he had some back spasms, and he entered the game and played just like he didn't miss a beat. He had 26 points and 7 assists, a couple highlight moves like he always has. My question for you is this. You kind of gave him a little flack earlier in the season for some of his load management. Now that you know he has back issues, do you give him a pass for missing a few games moving forward?
Absolutely. There's a difference. You just acknowledged it. Is the team load managing him, or is it a young player learning how to deal with some pain, some hurt, some injury? And so he's also shown, Jacoby, he's going to be one of the better probers in the league. And what does that mean? Be able to get to whatever spot he wants and take whatever shot he wants or drop it off. And the other thing I appreciate, especially with his body type, he literally throws his body around. He ain't go in there to attack somebody that's 50 pounds, 60 pounds heavier and don't think twice about it.
He's got such a polished game for someone in their rookie season. And I'm going to say something that I probably shouldn't say. Zion who? Zion Williamson who? We got Ja. You know what I like? I like to watch people actually play basketball. Zion, when you come back, we can talk about you then. But Ja Morant has really taken some of the pain of not seeing Zion Williamson this season away because he has been so good. Yes, Mr. Rose?
Can I get a 20-second timeout, even though they don't do them anymore like that? So, you're the same guy. You was a Die-Easy fan for these people. Jokic.
Gone. I'm not anymore.
You just talked about Zion.
Zion who? I don't even know who you're talking about.
You go to Knicks games.
Yep.
You used to go to Clippers games.
Listen, all of that's being better than a Pistons fan. I'd rather be all that than a Pistons fan. I'll tell you that much.
You blindly defend the Patriots. You're from Massachusetts.
These are all facts. I see nothing wrong with any of that. Those are all facts. Jalen, you know I'm a Die-Easy Bills fan now too because they're winning. And we have a Bills Mafia mishap. Keep it moving or hit the brakes. Hit the brakes.
Oh, if it's a Bills Mafia mishap, that has to do with probably adult beverages and cultural behavior. So hit the brakes.
Yes, it's exactly. I don't know how you knew. Well, we're going to mix some cultural behavior and some adult beverages and a
He was more worried about holding that beer than hitting the table. That's how he missed it.
Yes, he missed the whole
and
table.
It probably was like 7 in the morning.
Can't move when you got to get the shot because you know it's going viral because my man almost broke his neck. Got to get the shot. The gram first. Gram over health. Gram over health. And first of all, I know that if I was on the back of a tailgate and I had a beer in the air and I said, I'm going to go break this folding table, you would not stop me. You would have your phone out too. You'd be, I'm going to go live. I know you, Jalen. I know you too well. Jalen, Nick Cannon did something that I think he's going to regret. And by now you know what it is. Nick Cannon did something that you're going to regret. We're not going to hit the brakes now. We'll tell you about Nick Cannon's diss track about Eminem right after this. Now through December 12th, you can bid on shoes from Joel Embiid, Paul George, Magic Johnson, and many other celebrities, coaches, and athletes. Bid now at ebay.com/VWeek. All proceeds benefit the V Foundation for Cancer Research. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, it's time for a very special Soft Move or Boss Move. Nick Cannon did something unthinkable. Nicholas Cannon did something unthinkable. He not just recorded, he released an Eminem diss track in 2019. Jalen, he's got Suge Knight on there from prison. He's got some of his other homeboys on there. Jalen, what is Nick Cannon doing?
So, for those that don't know, I'm in Detroit right now. And for anybody that's seen the movie 8 Mile, it was basically based on the fact that Marshall Mathers' career started as a freestyle artist at the hip hop shop here. Maurice Malone jeans even back in the day. Rest in peace, Proof. That's how he started in the game. And as he continued to elevate and become popular and become a mogul and become one of the greatest lyricists of all time, One of the things you don't want to do is verbally exchange with him. You do not want to bark up that tree like Jay said.
So let me ask you a question.
That will fall on you.
Soft move or boss move recording an Eminem diss track?
Oh, that's a soft move.
Soft move.
That's a soft move.
You know what else makes it a soft move? First of all, you can't have an R&B singer sing the chorus of your diss track about Eminem, and you can't have like 2 or 3 of your homeboys also record verses on your diss track towards Eminem. Like, none of this makes any sense to me. My question is, what is Marshall Mathers doing now? Is he going to actually respond? He sent out a couple tweets, but is he going to make a track?
Hey, man, he about to have the cavalry coming for his neck. You got Curtis 50 Cent Jackson out here. You got Royce the 5'9" out here. Marshall himself. Like, I would just apologize.
I would apologize if I was Nick. I'd be like, lapse of judgment. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. I would fly to Detroit just to stand outside of his house and put a note in his mailbox, sign with my name saying, I'm sorry. I understand if you end my career. I made a mistake. Jalen, very quickly, Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid go head-to-head tonight, 2 of the best centers in the league. Will Jokic lay another egg? Will he perform against that good competition? Which center would you rather have? Let me know the answer to all 3.
Well, a couple of things. 3 questions in 10 seconds. Embiid on a 1-game basis. Jokic probably for longevity because of health. Tonight, I'm going with the guy at home. But Jokic is going to have a big-time game.
You know what? It's gotten to the point where I'm kind of rooting against Jokic. It's happened. I went the opposite way. I used to be on the bandwagon. Now I not only got off the bandwagon, I'm all the way off him. We'll be back tomorrow, ESPN 2. Make sure you tune in. We'll see what Jokic does.
You're far too kind.